So I'm talking to Anna, who's a performing arts student at LMA and a model. And mostly we'll be talking about modelling, but we'll talk a little bit about your performing art at LMA. First, will you pronounce your name, because I always have big problems with the name.
Okay, so actually it's Anna, and it's Anna Drewniok. So.
Anna Drewniok.
Yeah.
But you live with Anna.
I live with Anna.
Yeah.
I want to start over once I move somewhere new, like to new uni. I want to be like, it's Anna actually.
Anna.
Yeah.
Right, well, maybe I could start calling you Anna.
Oh,
okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So can you just set the scene then? You're a long way from home, obviously.
Yes.
You're at LMA, which is a performing arts university in Liverpool.
Performing arts and media.
So how did that happen?
So I've always dreamed about doing some sort of performing. I've always sung, and like I was in every school play. But I was always torn between singing and acting, and I was like, if singing, then what genre? Do I do jazz? Do I do rock? And then it came to me that the musicals connect not only like acting and singing, but also so many different genres. So I decided, musical theatre. And then I decided that the UK is the best place to study musical theatre in Europe, just because...
Why is that?
Because of the Western tradition, and like you've got so many amazing theatres, and in Poland it isn't like that. It isn't a thing. You do not get that much like integrated education, like acting, singing and dancing together. It's quite new in Poland, and in the UK there's a long tradition with the West End and everything. So
you said you were in every school play that you could get into.
Yes.
So what other interests led to what you're doing now?
Oh my god, I don't know. I've always been interested in like I've always been very imaginative, and I like to create my own stories. I was writing my own music, my own songs, and like I've always felt in my life like I'm the main character of my movie, sort of. So when all the performing and modeling opportunities came, that was sort of natural for me, because I felt like just in my place.
Okay, and you've told me about your dad's sort of musical background, so just tell me about that.
So my dad plays in a Celtic music group called Caranthuhill, like the highest mountain in Ireland. So the music has always been a part of my life, because the band is now like 30 something years old, so it's much older than me actually. So I've been brought up in this very artistic family, because my grandma on the dad's side is also like a painter and a regional educator, so she's taught me all those Silesian songs. And then there was dad who played bass guitar, and it's sort of like affected me in so many ways. So
tell me about the Celtic tradition in Poland, which doesn't sound like a logical sort of coming together.
There are a couple of bands in Poland, but I really should talk more to my dad about like why did they decide to play Celtic music? How did that happen? Yeah. I just know that like some of the band members were going to high school together, and they sort of came with this idea of a band, and like for some reason they chose Celtic music. Maybe because it's very like joyful and energetic, and like they had the interest in some of the like Irish instruments, and it just made sense for them, I guess.
Right. Back in the day.
Yeah. I really need to talk to my dad about that now that you've mentioned it.
Well, you can tell me about that next time.
Yes.
Okay, and why Liverpool then?
To be honest, just because I've applied to 5 different unis and I only got into here.
Okay.
But my dad was so happy about it, because he's obsessed with the Beatles. So I was quite happy about it. And then I started attending LMA, and I just fell in love with the university. I fell in love with the city. This is just such a vibrant city. So this cultural scene here is so alive and so like diverse. So it's really a good place to be.
And then at this point, I'd like to talk a little bit about how I met you,
Yeah,
which because it's such a nice story. And
it is.
I first saw you in Church Street, and at the time I was working on a project that became exclusively Berets, which was a project about people who wear berets. And you were wearing one, and you were a fast walker. And by the time I caught up with you, we were nearly at Liverpool 1. So I took a picture there, and then probably a couple of weeks after that, I saw someone with a beret at the top of Bold Street, and I approached and said something like, "Excuse me, I'm doing a project on people who wear berets," and you said something like, "I'm already in it."
Yeah.
So it was perfect, really. And that day, I took one of my favourite ever photographs.
Yeah.
The black and white picture. Colour one was lovely.
Yeah,
The black and white just went somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
It just had this retro feel, like very vintagey.
Marlene Dietrich.
Yes.
So it's beautiful. And then we did the photo session on the
Yes.
waterfront on an incredibly cold
Oh,
February
yeah. It was
afternoon.
a cold
Bitter.
day.
And it wasn't my first photo session, but it was the first from the point when I decided I was going to do a series of them.
Yeah.
So I'd done one 6 months earlier, and so that was lovely, and that got me going, and we got some nice pictures that day. So that's the background. But I want to go on to talking about your modelling now,
Yeah.
and anyone who looks at your Instagram feed will see probably 4 years of material.
Oh, even more.
More?
I started in 2014.
Right, so that's
Yeah, so
8
that's-
years.
Yeah. Yeah, but like on my Instagram, I am really behind with publication. I am like on 2020 on August, just because I produce so much content. In 2020, I think I had like 50 something different photo shoots, so it's like so difficult to
Yeah.
publish them all.
But there's some beautiful photographs in there,
Thank you.
going back a long time.
Yeah.
Very varied.
Yeah.
Tell me about the background to it all. So how did you start modelling?
Let me start with the fact that I was a little bit bullied in like a secondary school. People weren't nice, and I was really insecure about my looks. I didn't really like myself. And then, like, one of my friends had a photographer come to her birthday, and she took really amazing pictures of us, like portrait photos. And then I contacted the girl again, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to meet up for a photo shoot?" So we've arranged a photo shoot with 2 different looks. One was with my harp. I was dressed like a little fairy in like a tutu and in the woods with like a flowery wreath. And then there was like a black ballerina one on roller skates. So that's how my portfolio started, and she said to me that I was beautiful, and I remember like I was so happy about it.
So this was you blossoming from a
Yeah.
bullied child into
Yeah.
a beautiful creature.
Yeah, so she was like, "Yeah, maybe we should do another one together," and I was so happy about it. And this time we got like a professional makeup artist, and we did another one. And that's sort of how I started my portfolio. I put it up online on like a Polish website, Max Models, and the local photographers started reaching out to me, and I was like, "Oh my god, people are writing to me, that's
Right.
so crazy." So yeah, that's how it started. And then I got so into it that my parents weren't really supporting it. They were like, "Why do you need all those pictures?" And I said, for my portfolio, maybe one day I can work as a model and get some money for it, and I hope they would understand, but they still wouldn't. And so I used every opportunity, like a trip to another city for like not photographic reason, to actually have a photo
So you were
shoot.
sneaking around
Yeah,
to
I was
develop your
sneaking
modelling
around.
career.
Yeah, I was sneaking around a bit, but it helped me build a very varied and large portfolio. And then I actually like found some work in modeling. So yeah, I think I've proven my point to my parents.
Right. And do they accept it now?
Yeah,
Good. Good.
they have like a little folder where they save all my book covers.
Right, I'm going to come on to that.
Yeah.
Performing arts and modelling both involve being in the spotlight and the
Yeah.
centre of attraction, and you've already touched on this
Yeah.
about your school performances. So, what is it? Is it a reaction to being bullied as a child, partly?
I think that it's the other way around. I was bullied because I was so much into like everything. I was like always the kid in the
right.
center of attention, and I think some people just hated me for it. Like, not gonna lie, some of them were just jealous.
Yeah.
And like, this is really unfair because when you have a passion like a kid and then like other kids hate you for it,
Yeah.
you start like not liking yourself. But despite all of that, I still love it.
You worked
and
through it.
I worked through it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's it.
A niche area for yourself, which I was quite intrigued with when we first met, was your photography or your modelling for book covers, mainly romantic novels.
Yeah.
And so tell me about Joanna, and if you could pronounce her name as well, that would be
I
brilliant.
will. It's Anna Drewniok, and she's a brilliant photographer, and she's actually my neighbor. In Poland, we live like 100 meters from each other, so sometimes it's like a day before, hi, do you want to have a shoot together tomorrow? And we just like very spontaneous duo, just because it gives you so many possibilities where you live so close to each other. And she's got all the crazy retro and historical costumes, and we just pack them in the car and we go to some pretty fields or I don't know, a lake, and we get some pictures done. So yeah, the photo shoot is usually a couple of hours, a couple of different outfits, and in each outfit you get to take as many pictures as possible on different angles, because the publishers often look for like a certain pose or an angle. So yeah, this is my work with Joanna.
So all of those dresses and outfits, does she own them?
Yeah, she owns them. Some of them are mine because I also started collecting my own costumes for the purposes of like photo modeling and also my performances. So I've got quite a huge wardrobe as well.
So have you got a shared warehouse somewhere?
No, but that would actually be a perfect idea. And I'm like wearing down my dad to like clean out the garage so I can have my costumes in there. But let's see how it goes. Yeah, she has a lot.
And so how many countries now do you think you've covered?
Oh, I have a map somewhere, but I haven't counted. I've definitely been in all Scandinavia. So let's try to count. Norway, Sweden, Estonia, Germany, Poland, Australia, Canada, USA, UK, Portugal,
Australia?
Finland. Yeah, Australia's already been. So like I think around 20 or something. Yeah, it would be difficult. I would need to look at the map.
It always makes me wonder how people finish up in niche areas. So you finished there because Joanna works in that area.
Yeah.
But how did she decide that was going to be a key area for her photography, I wonder?
I am not really sure because we started working together before she like got so much into the book covers, and we did some like fantasy shoots before. She's always been a very like artistic photographer. She's always done like fine art fantasy stuff, and some of the pictures were kind of retro. So then she like naturally like leaned towards the book cover photography, and once she's got like successful in the agency, she's like pursuing it now.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
I've seen one or two of your reels, which includes you and other people in a car going somewhere on a shoot, I think.
Oh yeah.
And it just looks like a very happy time for you.
Yeah, it is a very happy time because it's like a day of fun, you know, dressing up in all the costumes and pretending, you know, I'm in the 19th century and I'm a mystery lady somewhere, and just, you know, walking differently, behaving differently. It all gives you like so much fun. It's just fun.
Right. So just a pleasure to do.
Yeah, it is.
A question that's interesting for me is, What do you notice about the difference in different photographers? So different approaches from different photographers.
Yeah. So one thing that varies like through everyone is feedback. Like some people just want me to do my job and I do like all the poses, and sometimes it's even that silent that I'm like, am I doing everything alright? They are not saying anything. Is everything alright? And some of the people are like directing me, telling me what they want me to do. So I would say this is like the main difference between photographers. But obviously everyone has their own style. Some people make more fashion pictures, some aim towards book cover things, historical modeling. It depends on like their style.
Does it vary quite a lot from photographer to photographer?
I would say so, yeah. Everybody that I've worked with has their own unique style, and I don't think there's a single photo shoot that I would say is the same. I think everyone has different approaches.
And is there any discernible difference between male and female photographers when you're working with them?
I do not think so. Not really. It depends, like everything depends on the style. So some female photographers have a similar style to some male photographers and like vice versa. So I wouldn't say it matters.
Okay. Tell me about some of your more adventurous shoots.
What do you mean adventurous?
Well, there were some nice pictures of you as Ophelia in a stream.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that was fun. I love doing Ophelia shoots. I do one every summer or like even more. My first one was I think back in 2018. It's just literally walking into a lake, trying to like hold up on the surface and like try to look dead, but not like I'm forcing it. They are always so fun. Like I love Ophelia shoots. Of course, I smell horribly after that, and I'm all wet. But it's usually on hot days, so you're drying really quick, and it doesn't really matter. But they're always fun. It's just sometimes you need to be careful because there are like some levels that the ground goes like quite deep.
So it would be a shame if the model drowned on a shoot.
No, I'm quite comfortable with water. It's sometimes the worst thing about Ophelia shoots is that my ears are below the surface of water when I'm like this, so I cannot hear if the photographer has any notes. So from time to time I'm like, did you say anything? Because I can hear like mumbling, and then I'm
more drowning.
yeah. So it's like finding the perfect depth of the water, because if it's too deep I am not able to hold up, but if it's too like not deep, then the water doesn't look that nice. So it's about finding the perfect spot.
Finding the balance. Yeah. What are your hopes for the future in connection with modelling?
So I still hope to stick to the book cover niche because it connects performing and modelling, and it's something I really love, and honestly it pays quite well. But I also hope to do more mainstream like fashion work and fashion campaigns for like shops and brands. That would be something that would really interest me.
Tell me about the roller skating campaign or...
Yeah. So it was a video, promotional video, fashion one for a brand called Sinsay. It's a Polish fashion brand, and they were looking for a roller skater for one of their shoots. And it was convincing, I forgot the word, conveniently in my area. It was conveniently in my area because usually things in Poland are happening in Warsaw, and this time it was in Silesia. It was also just a day before my flight back to UK, so everything was like a sign, it is your time. So I've applied.
Stars aligned.
Yes, and I got the job.
Yeah.
It was a fun day of filming at a roller disco in Katowice. And I did some freestyle roller skating, dancing, all in different outfits, and we've got like Euphoria inspired makeup with all the glitter and this aesthetics. So yeah, it was so fun, and it was actually so good to see myself in a video like this. I wish I would have posed for like pictures for the campaign, but they had like 2 roller skaters, so me and another girl, and they had one agency model who like barely skated, but she did like the pictures.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was.
That's not fair then.
Yeah, but I'm fine. I was in a video, and that was cool.
Good. Going back to your performing arts degree, is there a grand plan for that?
Yeah. So I want to do my master's in composition. I'm still waiting for news, but I really want to pursue it and write my own musicals, write myself some roles, because I find it like, as a girl with a quite low voice, it's difficult to find like a good roles for me to perform. Also with my accent, like I keep being told I cannot be cast because of my accent, and it's really hurting me because like I think we're beyond that. We're like, we have colorblind casting where we cast people of different ethnicities in role that wouldn't be necessarily their own. Why can't we go accent blind and like give more people opportunities to play some parts? So I plan to, you know, large and enlarge the scope for me to like play, and like maybe some other Slavic actresses would benefit from me creating roles for them, and like I really want to write the stories that I've made up in my head, and I really think they are important to tell. So.
And does it make sense to talk about a split between acting and singing?
Yeah, there's like in musical theater there's also dancing, but it's my worst, so let's not talk about this. But I think that singing and acting are really connected in some ways, because every time you sing you need to act through a song. You cannot just like sing through a song. You need to bring the emotions, you need to bring the feelings, and singing helps with acting too, because the way you control your voice in acting, it also helps. So I think the two are very much connected, and yeah, that's why I wanted to do musical theatre, to like bring them both together. Yeah.
One of the sort of strands of these conversations is to ask people if Liverpool itself has had an impact on their creativity, their art. So is an Anna now different to the Anna that came to Liverpool?
It's Anna.
Huh?
Anna.
Oh, right. Anna.
But that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I am definitely so much different, like living in a big city like Liverpool, and so cultural and so vibrant, opened my mind to different things. Studying helped me like understand what path do I want to go into. It helped me like identify my strengths, identify my weaknesses, and it's just made me dream bigger, just because, you know, I came here, so I'm like, yeah, I did it, so why not go even further? So it's a really great city to like create, to feel artistic, because it, like, everywhere you go, I literally, let's go back to the main character in my own movie feeling, because this city is so beautiful and so like cinematic that it gives you the vibes that sometimes even when you walk in like alleys that are like small and insignificant, sometimes you notice like nice places and you're like, oh, I feel like in a movie. So that's a really great place to get like all artistic and creative, and everywhere around here is just interesting. So yeah.
Well, that's a positive then.
It is.
if you describe a city as making you think bigger, that's got to be a positive. Right, well, it's been lovely to talk to you now. It's been lovely to do 3 sessions and hopefully another one shortly.
Hopefully.
And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.